Good afternoon. Where has the time gone? I want to welcome you today. My name is Vinny Vrotny. I'm the Director of Academic Technology at Quest Academy. And today what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about Google Hangouts. And it's ready for prime time. And in this presentation, I'm going to be using and showing how we at our school, which is a 3-year-old program through an 8th grade, have begun to use Google Hangouts and how you can begin to use Google Hangouts. Now, a couple things about the presentation I just want to make sure that you know in the front end. Because of the fact that we're using younger students, I don't have pictures that I can use here because I haven't gotten the release from their parents. And there's also some other considerations in terms of HIPAA that we can't make sure that you guys get the picture, I think. So we'll just kind of go on because, again, they've given me 15 minutes and I have 8 things that I want to share with you. So the big thing is, what is Google Hangouts? Well, Google Hangouts is available now as part of your mail chat, and it's a way that you can begin to have video collaboration between different groups of people, as well as you can have larger group meetings, up to 10 individuals coming into a Google Hangout. So what is it that you need in order to turn Google Hangouts on? Well, one item that you need is you need to turn on Google Talk. And if you're a classroom teacher, you need to talk to your domain administrator and say, hey, we want to use this. Please turn this on. The second thing is that you need Google Plus turned on for your site. Google Plus, however, you have to be careful in that if a student under the age of 13 begins to create a Google Plus profile, they will have their account suspended. And it's a little bit of a trick to get it unsuspended. So therefore, you want to be really, really careful in terms of how you do that. And again, your domain administrator can do that by just simply organizing users into the appropriate organizational subunit that you then have the ability to turn that on and off. The last piece that you need, and this is where I'm going to be having the focus of my conversation, is that you need to have your YouTube channel activated for each of your different users. And in addition to that, you have to go through a process with YouTube to verify that you are the owner of that particular account. That is done either via an email or an SMS message. Now, with the SMS message, I do have to give the standard disclaimer, standard messaging rates apply. Once you've gotten that and you have done that and you've verified that you are the owner of that YouTube account, you can begin to do a number of things beyond the use of Google Hangouts. The biggest of which is that you are able to upload YouTubes that are longer than 15 minutes long. In fact, you can record and upload a YouTube that's as long as 4 hours if you wish. And this is a real bonus for coaches and drama teachers, visual art teachers, music teachers, in that they're now able to record and upload in a flipped or blended situation the ability to use that. So why and what and how can you use Hangouts? Well, one way that you can use Hangouts is in a regular Hangout. This is a one-and-done Hangout. This is where a group of folks get together, you have your Hangout, you exchange your information, but when you're done, the Hangout disappears. Very effective, can be a great use. The second type of Hangout that you can utilize is what's called a Hangout on Air. And this is where, for us at our school, and for me, the real power exists. What's a Hangout on Air? Well, a Hangout on Air enables you to broadcast that particular Hangout so that even if you have more than the 10 users that you're communicating with, other people can come in and watch that particular Hangout. They can watch it either via your YouTube channel or they can watch it via your Google Plus page. Additionally, once you're done with that broadcast, it will then become available on demand through your YouTube channel. So that therefore you can use your YouTube settings to make it private, to make it available with a link only, so that therefore you can email that out to your constituent group, or to make it public so that you can now have that available, that video that you did in that Hangout. So what are the 8 ways that I'm really stoked about why Hangouts are important for us at our school, and hopefully that you'll be able to tackle and tap into them for there? Well, the first is just going in and having a speaker. One of the things that we have is professional development. We have parent education, and we had a speaker come in to speak to our parents. Unfortunately, the scheduling of that particular speaker, that speaker could only come into our campus from noon to 1 o'clock. And we wanted to make this speaker available to all of our parents. So using a laptop and a webcam connected to that, we broadcast that message and that experience for our parents live during their lunchtime, and we sent them the link. If you're at lunch at your place of business, you can't come on campus and watch this speaker, here it is. And when it's finished, in the evening, you now have put the kids to bed, you can now watch and access that on demand anytime that you need to. So we really began to use this. Now again, my school's outside Chicago, and so one of the things, we have a lot of weather issues, and at school we have what's called a State of the School address. And this is where we talk about what's gone right and what the new initiatives are for the next year. And this year, the State of the School address occurred on a day that there was a weather issue that came through, and school was closed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So what are we going to do? We have the ability to now begin to do this. And so what we did, and you can see here on the image, we used 2 computers that were connected into the same Google Hangout. Because again, I said that we had the ability to add up to 10. One of the things that you can do within Google Hangout is you can do screen sharing. So you'll see up on your left-hand side that there's a person who's standing behind a computer. This computer was running screen share, and they were running the PowerPoint presentation that normally would have been shown to parents. The second computer that you see in the picture is the one which is running the webcam. And there's an app in the Google Hangouts which is called Cameraman that allows you to choose which of the images is being broadcast. So if you want to create a 2-camera broadcast with students and you don't have a TV studio, using Google Hangouts, you can create that experience. You can record it, put it on demand, and then allow your parents to see that broadcast or that speaker or however you want to use it. And so what we were able to do is to switch to the person introducing themselves and having it very much like the State of the Union or other things, switch to the slides, and we even pushed out video in through that screen sharing. We pushed out a Google video on how we use earth and maps in the art curriculum, and we had another video which was pushed on out. And the really cool thing is the next day when we were open, I do morning parking duty. We're helping the kids get out of the car. And many parents did stop and say, God, that's really great. I saw the presentation. I was able to, get it and watch it after I was done shoveling out. And that new project that you're doing sounds really, really great. So it was great to see that parents were accessing and utilizing that. One of the things that we do is we do committee work. And if you're in a large district, you have the ability to engage in that committee work from your own locations. And again, I didn't have a screenshot of this because we haven't done this particular area recently that I was able to do that. But you can engage in that committee work. And again, one of the other features of Google Hangouts, whether it's on air or whether it's in that one and done mode, is that you have the ability to share a Google Doc with all the participants. One thing that I did just in February is I was giving a presentation at another conference, and I was working with 3 other people who were located in 3 other places across the United States. And what we were able to do is create a Google presentation. We were able to build it collaboratively together, see it, talk about it because our images were down at the bottom, and then additionally we were allowed to rehearse. I'm going to have to blow through. There's other things that you can do, professional development. One of the things that we had is we had students who were in hospice, and we were able to use Hangouts to bring them into the classroom. So even though they were in the hospital, they were able to engage in the collaborative work, and using the Hangouts on air, they were able to do so even though they were in tests, or they may have been in an appointment, or they may have had something else. They were able to come back a half of an hour later, engage, come into the Google Doc, and be able to work with their classmates. If you're interested in flipping classroom, you can do a 1-person Google Hangout on air, do your recording, use your webcam, use the screen share, show the example, record it, it's on your YouTube channel. You can now share it out in your web device. So that therefore, if you've got teachers who are interested in flipping, you can flip using Hangouts on air. What a great way to do this. But on the flip side of that, you can use it for student assessment. One of the things that I did in my class is I asked the students to do a Hangout on air, which was shared to me, that had them do one of the assessment questions that they not only went through and showed the steps, but they talked about the strategies. They talked about the things that they were thinking about while they were doing, which then made the thinking visible to me in a way that I would not be able to capture in the classroom. It was a really, really powerful way. I don't do this on every assessment. I do it on every third or fourth. I teach math. I typically do it on a word problem, so they can talk about how they set it up, why they set it up the way that they did, which then allows me to differentiate and put kids who have similar strategies together to solve those particular problems. The last piece that I do is I do a podcast, and we've moved all of our podcasting into the Hangouts on Air. Before, we would have to go into Skype, and from Skype, we'd have to download it. We'd have to do some audio editing. Now all we do is we start up a Hangout on Air. We begin to have the conversations. We stop the broadcast, and within 3 or 4 minutes, it's available for us to now push on out into the various different things. So there are just some really great things that you can do with Google Hangouts, especially Google Hangouts on Air, and it is ready for prime time in your school. And my hope is that I've given you all a few ideas that hopefully you'll be able to take back and implement in your schools.